Act Y, the scrap pile. Get that piece of junk out of my range, now. That voice. Staff Sergeant Brock, the Rock Jensen. It boomed across Fort Bragg's massive shooting range like a physical wave, and every head, from the freshest recruits to the brass in the observation tower, snapped toward me. I'm Amelia Vance, barely 5'3" and worn oil-stained coveralls. I work maintenance, and I was clutching a beat-up AR-15 that looked like it had been salvaged from a scrapyard, which honestly, it kind of had. It was the annual Garrison Marksmanship Competition, practically a holiday at Bragg. We're talking 200 spectators, all waiting to see the elite Raiders unit dominate. But now, their attention was fixed on the little maintenance clerk who dared to stand among warriors. Hey, Jensen! Looks like someone raided the scrap pile again, Sergeant First Class Maya Chen yelled from the bleachers, her cruel laugh cutting through the humid Carolina morning. The crowd chuckled, a low, mocking wave. My hands, which never stopped trembling, visibly shook, making the broken rifle dance a little. Brock swaggered over, his 6'4" frame blocking the morning sun. His Raider tab practically glowed as he gestured dismissively at my weapon. Look, maintenance, he sneered, his breath hot on my face. This is a professional competition. It's not a charity event for mechanics playing dress-up. I didn't respond. I just adjusted my grip, my shaky fingers finding their position on the rifle with a weird, unsettling precision. Only Range Officer Miller, a stocky guy who'd been around since dirt, seemed to notice it. Something in my stance, the way my feet found a center of gravity without conscious thought. He leaned forward. They had no idea. They had no idea those trembling hands were about to do what not a single one of their elite warriors could manage. Just 3 months ago, I had transferred to Bragg's Vehicle Maintenance Division. Every morning started the same way. Alarm at 4:30, uniform, and then the medication. My hands shake as I open the prescription bottle. The tremor. It's a constant companion, a neurological souvenir from a bad deployment, something only specialized experimental treatments can dull, but never fully stop. I'd shown up at the range before dawn, using my maintenance access to retrieve this rifle from the destruction bin. Barrel warped, stock cracked, the trigger assembly loose with a 1/4 inch of creep. It was scheduled for shredding. Perfect. Let them see what they expected to see. A small woman out of her depth. Hands that couldn't stop shaking. Equipment that belonged in a scrap heap. Seriously, Miller, Brock turned to the range officer, practically vibrating with indignation. You're gonna allow this? She's going to hurt someone with that garbage, probably herself. Miller hesitated, his weathered face creased with concern. He'd seen 1,000 soldiers, but something about me nagged at him. The way I'd checked the chamber when I arrived. Not the clumsy fumbling of an amateur, but a smooth, professional brass check, ma'am. I need to inspect that weapon, he said, walking over. I handed it over. He examined the rifle, his disbelief growing. The barrel was warped, the trigger nearly useless. This rifle is non-serviceable. I can't allow— Check the regulations, sir, I interrupted, my voice soft but clear. Section 4.3.2. Any rifle that can chamber and fire standard NATO rounds is permitted in competition, regardless of condition. Miller blinked. Most soldiers didn't know the rules that well. Hell, most range officers didn't. He reluctantly fired a test shot. It went wide, naturally, but it fired. She's technically correct, he sighed, handing the rifle back. But ma'am, you're not going to hit anything with this. We'll see, I replied. Brock wasn't done. He stepped close, using his size to intimidate, smelling of expensive cologne and misplaced confidence. Listen up, maintenance. This competition is for Raiders, Special Forces, real warriors, not whatever you think you are. Go home. I paid my entry fee, I said simply, not backing up an inch. I have the right to compete. My calm infuriated him. He was used to people crumbling. Fine, he spat, then yelled for the whole crowd. Boys and girls, looks like we got ourselves a warm-up act. Maintenance wants to play soldier. The crowd roared with harsh, mocking laughter. Phones came out. They were ready to record the failure. Maya Chen was live-streaming to her followers. Okay, family, you're not going to believe this. Some desk jockey showed up with a rifle held together with duct tape. Comedy gold. Watch this space. They didn't see the specialized wrist brace under my coverall sleeve. Military-grade nerve stabilization tech, designed to compensate for tremors up to 8 hertz. A permanent solution for permanent neurological trauma that should have ended any shooter's career. To them, Just a medical device. Further proof of my inadequacy. ACT-2. The break in the pattern, the first round. Precision shooting. 10 rounds, 100 meters, 2 minutes. The Raiders immediately opened fire, tight groupings appearing on their targets, 9s and 10s. This was their job. I didn't fire. I lay perfectly still, my breathing slowed, the tremor following a rhythm that seemed to synchronize with my heartbeat. 10 seconds passed. 20. The crowd started to murmur. "Hey, maintenance," Maya yelled. "Loud noises scare you? Need someone to hold your hand?" Still, I didn't fire. I was reading the wind. Not the flags, but the subtle heat shimmer off the concrete, the pattern of dust motes in the air. My mind calculated the adjustments with mechanical precision, compensating for wind, compensating for the warped barrel. 30 seconds in, I fired my first shot. Bam! The scoring system registered instantly. 10 ring. Dead center. It had to be luck. Everyone thought so. I fired again. Bam! 10 ring. So close to the first, they looked like one slightly enlarged hole. The Raider section quieted. By the 5th shot, creating a single ragged hole, the entire range went silent. My lane was drawing attention, not for failure, but for impossible success. Range Officer Miller was staring at his monitor, the data telling a story that defied logic. Perfect trigger control despite a visible tremor. Shot placement that compensated for a barrel warp that should have made accuracy impossible. He gasped, looking at the data. She's compensating for a 3.7-inch drift at 100 meters in real time, with no scope adjustments. Colonel Davies, watching from the tower, looked down at his screen, his face pale. That kind of calculation, that level of instinctive ballistic compensation, that doesn't come from a manual. It comes from experience. Scars. I fired my last round. Another 10 ring. Total score, 100 out of 100, with a broken rifle. Brock's voice was too loud in the quiet. "Equipment malfunction. The scoring system must be off." No way maintenance outshot my squad with that junk. The veterans knew better. Luck gives you one good shot, maybe 2. 10 perfect shots in under 2 minutes with a broken rifle and nerve damage? That was something else. The rapid fire. The next round was different. Rapid fire, 30 rounds in 30 seconds. This required speed and consistency. Brock cornered me. Nice trick shots, maintenance. But rapid fire is a whole different game. This is where real soldiers separate themselves from wannabes. As I checked my magazines, the veterans noticed the pattern. I checked feed lips for microscopic burrs, arranged them in a specific order, the movements of someone for whom a bad magazine means death. The Raiders fired in professional, controlled pairs. My shooting was different. Where others fired in pairs, I fired in a single flowing stream. Magazine change at 10 rounds. Where the Raiders took a solid 2 seconds to drop, reload, and reacquire, my change was so fast, several people missed it entirely. The empty magazine hadn't hit the ground before the new one was seated. I finished with 3 seconds to spare. 30 rounds fired. 30 hits. Not just hits, shots placed in specific patterns. Head at 50 meters, center mass at 100, pelvis, center mass, head at 150. Devastatingly effective shot placement. The crowd was no longer laughing. Maya's phone hung forgotten. Brock was silent, his face flushed with something that might have been the very beginning of fear. Master Sergeant Harrison, watching from the observation platform, pulled out his phone. His message was short, encrypted, phantom pattern confirmed. Code red for Bragg. Come now. Act 3. The Ghost and the Sacrifice. The final round was about to begin. The drone targets. 5 evasive quadcopters at 40 mph. The current record was 3. But first, Brock made his final move. He couldn't accept defeat by a maintenance clerk. How about a little demonstration, hand-to-hand combat? He announced loudly to the crowd. After all, any real soldier needs to fight without a weapon. Unless maintenance is scared, I set my rifle down, those trembling hands still precise. "I didn't come here for this, Sergeant. Nobody comes looking for a fight," Brock pressed, looming. But real soldiers are ready for one anyway. "What's it going to be, maintenance? Hide behind regulations?" "It's fine, sir," I interrupted Colonel Davies, who was trying to intervene. I looked at Brock, a calm, steady, predatory assessment. "If the sergeant needs this, I'll oblige." Brock grinned, thinking he'd won back his dignity. He rushed me, a bull rush designed to overwhelm with size and weight. I wasn't there. A small sidestep and his momentum carried him past. As he stumbled, my trembling hand brushed his elbow. Just a touch, redirecting his weight. He wheeled around with a desperate roundhouse punch. I ducked, economical, just enough movement to let the fist pass. He snarled, lunging again, catching my shoulder. Sensing victory, he grabbed for my t-shirt, the fabric ripped from collar to sternum. And that's when everyone saw it. A massive, intricate black ink eagle tattoo covered my chest. Wings spread, talons gripping a sniper rifle. 6 feathers, each with an initial worked into the design, RBPJCT, and underneath, the words, Phantom Squadron, Nunquam Oblitus, Never Forgotten. Brock froze, staring at the tattoo, his face cycling through confusion, recognition, and then sheer terror. Everyone in Special Operations knew the myth. Phantom Squadron, operators who didn't officially exist. 6 went in on Operation Darkstar. 1 came out. The sole survivor had supposedly died from injuries months later. But there were rumors about the eagle tattoo, each feather a fallen teammate. Colonel Davies found his voice, formal and official. Master Sergeant Vance, Phantom 1, I thought you were dead. Vance died, I replied simply, pulling the torn shirt closed. I'm just maintenance now. Davies turned to the crowd, his voice carrying the authority of command. What you're looking at is Master Sergeant Amelia Vance, former team leader of Phantom Squadron. 170 confirmed kills, 20 combat deployments. 5 years ago, Phantom Squadron took Operation Darkstar. They were betrayed. 6 went in, 1 came out. She fought for 17 hours, alone, with permanent nerve damage, carrying over 200 pounds of gear, and remains back to the line. He paused, looking straight at the shaken Rangers. The Raiders she saved that day by taking that mission instead of them. Those were your predecessors. Phantom Squadron died so your unit could live. The silence was absolute. Brock crumbled to his knees. Then Captain Tara Singh, the JAG officer who had been quietly taking notes, stepped forward. Sergeant Vance, I've been investigating irregularities regarding Operation Darkstar. Financial records and encrypted communications trace back here to this Ranger unit, specifically to Specialist Brooks and Corporal Davis. Davis made a wounded sound, his hand moving toward his sidearm. I was faster. Trembling hands or not, I covered his weapon, keeping it holstered. You knew, he gasped. You came here, why? I suspected, I corrected. My team's last communication mentioned concerns about intel security. Said someone in the Raiders might be compromised. After I recovered, I requested assignment here, maintenance. Nobody looks at maintenance. Davis and Brooks were arrested immediately, led away in stunned silence. The elite Raiders were revealed as traitors. My mission was complete. Miller's voice broke the silence. The drone round. Do you still want to? I looked at the field, then back at my broken rifle. Might as well finish what I started. I picked up the M4. I didn't need a supported position now. I stood freely, those trembling hands somehow steady in their dysfunction. 5 drones lifted off, evasive and impossible targets. I fired once. The first drone exploded. I fired a single report for the next 2. Both dropped. I fired twice more, so fast it sounded like one shot. All 5 drones destroyed. Time 11.7 seconds. The record was obliterated. I lowered the broken rifle, those trembling hands visible again. I came here looking for answers. I found them. My team can rest now. Epilogue. Vienna calls. I was packing my gear when Private Elena Gomez, the young soldier who had stood up for me earlier, approached. I pressed a worn challenge coin into her hand, Phantom Squadron's emblem. Hold on to that, I told her. Strength isn't about size or steadiness or who can shout loudest. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is endure. I drove away in my battered maintenance truck. My phone on the passenger seat buzzed with an incoming message. An unknown number. The text was short. Moscow was a lie. But Vienna is real. Your family needs you. TP Tanner Perkins, Phantom 4, the demolitions expert whose body had been identified only by DNA. I stared at the message. My hands trembling worse now. Not from nerve damage, but shock. I deleted the message, then typed one word. When? The answer came instantly. Soon. Heal first, then we fly again. I smiled. Warriors don't stop being warriors just because they're broken. They adapt. They endure. I returned to the maintenance shop. The Humvees weren't going to fix themselves. Brock found me there, still in his torn competition gear. He looked 10 years older. My unit, they told us another team took the high-risk mission. Never told us who. Never told us 6 operators died in our place. I've been walking around acting like God's gift to the military, mocking the warrior who died for me. You couldn't have known, I said. That's not the point, he shot back, showing the first spark of the leader he could be. I shouldn't have needed to know. Basic respect shouldn't be conditional on someone's resume. What do you want from me, Sergeant? Forgiveness? I want to know how to make it right. For the first time since the range, I gave a genuine smile. Stop being the soldier you've been. Start being the one they died to save. That's how you honor them. He nodded and left. I went to work. The tremor in my hands would always be there, the permanent price of bringing my brothers home. But as I'd proved today, broken things could still shoot straight. Sometimes they shot straighter than anything whole ever could. Call to action. They laughed at me because I looked weak and broken. They never considered the cost of my scars. But the real criminals, the real betrayers, were hidden behind the perfect uniforms and the bravado. Have you ever been dismissed or underestimated because of how you look or what you carry? Have you ever witnessed justice being served when the powerful were finally brought down by the overlooked? Drop a comment below and tell me your story of an underdog rising up, or what you think of the justice served today. And if this story resonated with you, hit the like and subscribe button. Help us share stories about the broken who still fly the truest.